The Exorcist from 1973. Now, I'm sure you all have heard of this film. Whether or not you liked it, you have got to admit that it made an impact. The movie starred Ellen Burstyn, Max von Sydow, Jason Miller, and a young Linda Blair as Regan McNeil. This is one of the best openings in film, period, especially in a horror movie. And as I say, there are very few films that make me feel uncomfortable afterwards. After the movie's done, there's very few films that make me feel scared. But The Exorcist is definitely one of them. Because this is why now, as an adult, I will not play with the Ouija board. Okay, make fun of me, mock me, that's fine, that's cool. Because it's stupid, it's just a board game. However, all I can hear is Captain Howdy. Captain who?
Captain Howdy.
And no, I just don't know. I don't play with the devil and all that. Listen, you can call me crazy. I don't care. I'm not messing with it. Regan's parents are divorced and Regan's birthday is coming up. She's a young girl. And when you look into the film and the lore and the theories, it's very interesting. Definitely check that out when you get a chance. Well, one day, little Regan starts acting weird, saying rude things to her party guests and coming out and peeing on the carpet like a puppy. It's a little more awkward when your daughter comes out and does it, you know. Things get worse for the McNeil family. Regan is misbehaving. If you have seen Terrifier 3, which I have seen a similarity between this and Terrifier 3, and the only difference is Victoria had a shard of mirror and Regan had a crucifix. But going back to Regan, one of the reasons this film really made an impact is because this is 1973. To have a child depict that happening is very uncomfortable for many people. Nowadays, it's Hollywood, right? But things progress worse and worse until one day, Chris is like, I gotta talk to this boxing priest over there. Him right there. I'm gonna talk to him because my daughter's possessed. I need some help. And of course, there's this whole thing that the Catholic Church has to go through in order to approve an exorcism. And so that's something else that's really terrifying. Like, how do you fight something so ancient and evil? It's pretty much tradition in my household to watch The Exorcist for Halloween. If you want that old school horror movie vibe, definitely watch The Exorcist from 1973. Good versus evil, plain and simple as that. And as I have said before, that this made an impact in movie making history, whether or not you like the film. One of my favorite things about it is it's very eerie and subtle in many scenes. And some scenes not so subtle. Some scenes are absolutely in your face, horrific. There's a big difference when you get older and you see these things in movies. It's like, ooh, why would you let your kid be in this? She turned out okay eventually. I think she had some hardships and some things to go through when she was younger, Linda Blair, but she turned out great. I like her. She does a lot of stuff for rescue animals and pit bulls and things like that. So I love her as a human being. This movie is forever in my top 3 of horror movies. And again, if I have to pick one, it's gonna be The Exorcist. One of the scariest scenes in any movie I've ever seen is that scene where Damien is dreaming. He's in this big city. His mother, his elderly mother, it looks like she's calling for him. She turns away. She's walking into the subway and he's running after her, calling for her, but she's not turning around. And that feels like an actual dream. You have that despair and that guilt and all those terrible feelings that you get from a nightmare. But the thing that really gives me nightmares, that damn Pazuzu face. That thing pops up out of nowhere. I hate it and love it at the same time. I hate it because it creeps me out, but I also love it because of the simplicity, because it was not expected and it was in your face. It's a jump scare, but the good kind. All right, people, so that is my movie suggestion for you. I think I've mentioned before, I love The Exorcist, and I'm sure it's been recommended on many a movie lists, and so I didn't bring anything new to the table other than my own love for it. Everybody loves it for their own reason. I love it because it's the first horror movie I remember watching as a kid, and I think it pretty much harbors all the feelings that you want to get from a horror movie.
The blood of the new and everlasting covenant, the mystery of faith.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Evil Dead from 1981. It's an independent supernatural horror film written and directed by Sam Raimi in his feature directorial debut, starring Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams. 5 college students are vacationing in a small cabin in the woods, and we always know it's a great idea, right? They find a tape, an audio tape, and when it's played, it releases demons and spirits. They really should have known there was an issue when the cellar trapdoor flies open out of nowhere. That really should have been, okay, we're not going down there. But no, they're going to investigate. Well, they start becoming these creatures known as deadites. They're kind of zombie-like, maybe possessed. they're kind of messed up, and it's kind of funny because one kind of turns into like a witchy character, and the other one is kind of like a possessed doll is what she reminds me of. So it's really out there. It's really, I would say, the horror film, but it did start a franchise. So we had this one, The Evil Dead, and then we had The Evil Dead 2, which was kind of a reboot / sequel. I've always been a little confused by it because it seemed like there were some sort of references to the first one, but this is a different but the same. It's still a fun watch, and a lot of people think The Evil Dead 2 is the best film, and it may very well be. My personal favorite is Army of Darkness. It's out there. It's about Ash gets transported to medieval times, and hilarity ensues. It's really funny though. That's where we get the boomstick.
Yeah. This is my boomstick!
Then we have the remake from 2013. I thought that one was really good. Took a bit of a darker turn. And then we have Evil Dead Rise. I'm not a fan. I have the review on my channel if you want to check it out. It just did not impress me. I'm sorry. And I used to take my movies way too seriously, and it had to be horror or nothing. But this really developed my love for comedy horror, made me appreciate it more. A lot of people won't get it, and that's okay. If you're not a big fan of the Evil Dead series or the original one, that's okay. It's not for everyone. But I really have to say, considering they're a smaller budget than, a regular horror movie, I think they did pretty well. And it has started a whole new genre of films, in my opinion. So that's it. That's my suggestion to you. If you have seen it, please leave your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't, go check it out. It's one of those films that you gotta watch at least once. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
What's in the basket?
What's in the basket?
Basketcase is a 1982 American horror film. A man who carries around his deformed conjoined twin who was detached from him, and he is set on vengeance against the man who gave him the unwanted surgery that separated the twins. It is a very weird movie, and I went into it thinking it was going to be really terrible. I mean, I did. I thought this just does not look like anything I would be interested in. It's actually pretty good, and it's pretty funny. Intentionally or not, I think it would do really well nowadays. It is such an off-the-wall slasher and it has such weird scenes. And it actually has 2 sequels, which I have never seen, called Basketcase 2 from 1990 and Basketcase 3, The Progeny. That came out in 91. The special effects are mostly practical. There's some stop motion in there, which you will catch. You know what? All in all, it's a really interesting story, and the way that it is made is very entertaining. And if you're the type of person that just wants to watch something weird to see if you like it, like I do, watch Basketcase. I'm going to show you some clips to kind of give you an idea of the type of movie you're going to get yourself into.
That seemed unnecessary.
What's in the basket?
What's in the box?
So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye. The Thing, starring Kurt Russell as R.J. McCready, featuring Wilford Brimley.
Diabetes.
The beginning starts off kind of jarring. We see a dog, and I will say this first, again, I always warn you. They depict bad things happening to animals. A lot of puppetry, it's fake. The dogs were not harmed, I'm sure. Having said that, I still fast forward a certain part in the film, a Norwegian helicopter following a dog running in the Antarctica. This guy just gets out of the helicopter, starts shooting, and so the Americans in their base, they come out and shoot the guy down. The first time we see McCready is when he's playing chess with a computer, gets upset that he lost, and poured his drink in the computer and damaging it. They take the dog and put him in with the rest of the sled dogs that they have, and this is an American research group. They're in the middle, like I said, of Antarctica. They are very isolated, just a bunch of men doing manly scientist things, I suppose. So McCready and another guy, they go off to the Norwegian base to see what in the hell is going on. Why was this guy chasing this dog and why was he shooting, and just try to, answer some questions. What they find are the charred ruins and the frozen corpses of the people who were at the Norwegian base. And also a deformed human. They take the body back to their base, and Blair does an autopsy and finds a normal set of human organs. So very odd thing to find. This is a movie that you can watch with other people, and you're probably going to get different opinions or reactions out of them. It all kind of depends on what you notice, how you interpret things, who was the thing, who wasn't the thing. Practical effects always age so much better than CGI. This alien organism kind of multiplies itself. It mimics whatever creature it takes on, and it takes over. And another thing that is really unsettling is how it will kind of mimic several things at once, or a human and an alien. There's one scene, and I don't want to give anything away, but I'm going to do it anyway, so if you don't want to hear absolutely anything, skip ahead about 20 seconds.
It isn't Bennett.
Something about it is just so unsettling, and it's so uncomfortable. And that's another thing about this. It's not just a horror movie or a sci-fi horror psychological thriller. You have a group of people isolated from any help or any civilization for a very long ways off, and they become very distrusting of one another. That you don't know who you can trust. If you can trust the person you've been friends with for a long time, you don't trust anybody. You only trust yourself. And when you have a group of several people, that's not really going to work out for everybody's benefit, because we have to work together, but then again, we can't trust each other. It's that mass hysteria, a little bit of a paranoia, but they have a good reason to be scared because this alien organism is taking over people. I remember being younger and not disliking the movie, but I just thought it was so gross. Like the special effects, they looked so nasty, and all this body horror. But I love watching body horror, weird horror movies, because I like to think how they did that if it was practical effects. I think it would make you question, what would I do in that situation? I think we all want to think we would be like McCready, just smart and level-headed. I think I would be like Blair.
I'll kill you.
I don't trust anybody. But this film is now one of my favorite movies of all time, period, especially one of my favorite horror movies. It's such a unique take on an alien invasion. Sometimes it's not what you can see, it's what you can't see. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and this movie suggestion, and please give The Thing a watch. Now, there was like a prequel to The Thing. It's kind of explaining what happened before The Thing from 1982. I think a lot of people put it down because of the use of CGI. And they had intended on using practical effects, but I don't know if it was the production company or what, but they insisted they use computer special effects, unfortunately, because the special effects just weren't really all that great in the prequel. The story itself was pretty good, though. I thought it was decent. So give The Thing a watch, and then watch the prequel. Or watch the prequel first, then The Thing, however you like to do it. And let me know what you thought of it. Do you like body horror movies? Do you like alien invasion movies? You know, give me your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this one. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
It's like a drug, but a perfectly pure and benign drug. The power I feel surging inside me.
Hey, wait! Don't give me that born-again teleportation rap. I told you I'm not gonna do it!
You're a fucking drag, you know that?
Something went wrong, Seth. When you went through, something went wrong.
The Fly is a 1986 sci-fi body horror film. Stars Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. Jeff Goldblum plays the eccentric scientist Seth Brundle, and Gina Davis plays a journalist named Veronica. I will start off by saying The Fly is not for everyone. It's very disgusting. It's nasty and grotesque. There's a lot of great practical effects, though, so if you're a fan of practical effects like I am, it might help you get through the nastiness of it. Also, I will say I will try to avoid spoilers as much as possible. If you can survive that, I think you can watch the movie. Seth Brundle meets Veronica, a journalist for Particle magazine, at a Meet the Press event. She's doing interviews, and she's like, I don't know if I have enough time to just talk to you, but he tells her he's working on something that will change the world and human life as we know it. So she meets him at his apartment. She makes fun of these phone booths in his apartment. Phone booths are these like little cubes you would step into to make phone calls, kids. It don't matter. Anyway, so he said, no, they're telepods. So he asked her something personal of hers. She takes off her stocking, gives it to him, puts in one of the telepods, but then at the other telepod, her stocking transported over there. So this is obviously huge, right? First she says, are you a magician? Is this, is this a hologram? How'd you do this? So she's excited. It's like, wow, this is huge news. She takes out her little recorder, starts talking to him. And I thought this was kind of funny. He's like so offended that she's recording him. He didn't want to do an interview. He's like, I thought this was personal. I didn't know you wanted to do a report about it. Like, she's a journalist. This is huge news. Why are you offended? So her job the next day, she reports back to her boss and he tells her, she's being swindled and all this, that, and the other. Oh, and Seth shows up. So he just leaves them to his office and those two are just talking in there by themselves, and Seth invites her to lunch. So while they're out eating, Seth informs her that he can only teleport inanimate objects. When she asks what happens when he uses living things, he says he doesn't want to talk about that while they're eating.
Things you wouldn't understand. Things you couldn't understand. Things you shouldn't understand.
I will say Gina Davis is really good at portraying like the matter-of-fact journalist. She seems very well-grounded in reality and facts, while Jeff Goldblum is perfect as the quirky and eccentric scientist, as he tends to be.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.
And this is back when we had Baby Goldblum. We didn't have the eccentric apartments.com Jeff Goldblum. There's a point in time when Seth decides to try this teleportation device on his own. But unbeknownst to him, a fly sneaks in with him. So, from telepod to telepod, he transports with this fly, splicing the DNA. At first, he seems like he's enhanced. He's more energetic. He's like doing gymnastics in his apartment. He's a better lover, which I didn't know that was a thing with flies, but good for them. He has these hairs growing out on his back, and so he thinks, I'm enhanced. Cool, this is working out for me. Until it's not. He starts losing his mind, frankly, and body parts, which is when this starts getting really gross. He starts to literally deteriorate. Veronica starts to document this horrifying change. In his mind, he's enhancing in the beginning. He thinks, I'm changing for the better. And we change our mind about him too. I mean, we go from sympathizing with him to being revolted by him. We dislike him. Now, if you kind of want an idea of how this movie is, I'm going to show you a little clip. And I will tell you that this pretty much sums up the film. The special effects are really cool, I will say. For a movie that's about 40 years old, this is so nasty. If you don't like it, still keep watching my video and then go on and comment and like this video and then subscribe if you like. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. In this scene, Veronica comes over to his apartment, and at this point too, we also find out that Seth is becoming addicted to sugar. I understand that, but he's very addicted to sugar, and he has found that there's a certain way he needs to eat his food.
I'm scared. Help me.
We are all sad and deeply grossed out.
Now, much like The Thing from 1982, The Fly makes me ill. And I know you're probably thinking, what in the total hell would I want to watch this film for? Because it's good. But there is this inner survival mode that we as human beings have, and it's disgust. It keeps us safe. It keeps us away from diseases. There are people out there that say they have, is it tryptophobia? Tryptophobia? I don't know, whatever, when there's like cluster of holes in people's skin, whether it's for special effects or, people do the Photoshop where people have holes in their skin. And I'm not saying people don't have that phobia. People have a lot of weird fears. Megalophobia. I don't like large things. I don't like big statues or buildings. It makes me uncomfortable. People have a lot of weird fears. But I think when it comes to people having holes in their skin, I think that's a valid fear. It's in our human lineage. People have survived a lot of weird shit in our lives and in our history, like the Black Plague. It's just human instinct to want to stay away from things that can make us sick. So I think when it comes to gross things like oozing skin, body parts falling off, and acidic saliva, we do find that inherently disgusting and it revolts us.
I would hope so.
Much like The Thing, in The Fly, we have this almost uncanny valley feel about Jeff Goldblum's character because it's still human, but not. Honestly, I don't get grossed out easily, but there's a lot of scenes that make me wince. The thing that makes me grossed out the most is vomiting and spit and things like that, and there's several scenes that feature that in this film, so warning. Trigger alert. There's the original The Fly from 1958 and The Fly 2 from 1989. I haven't seen either of those. If you have, let me know what you thought of them. And I think that we've all had those weird dreams where we have body parts falling off, teeth falling out, fingernails falling out, hair falling out, weird things like that. Our brains are weird. And I think that, and I might be reading a little bit too much into this film maybe, but we all have that weird fear or that weird thought of our own bodies failing us. It is a Cronenberg movie, so be prepared for that.
Boy, Morty, I really Cronenberg the world up, didn't I?
And I think it's a movie that you have to watch at least once. Oh, and it's also music by Howard Shore. Music by Howard Shore. He's a great composer, very talented. I was excited to see a movie with music by him. Give it a watch. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if it grossed you out too. Oh, one more thing. I haven't done an official 100,000 subscriber celebration video yet, but thank you so much. If you've subscribed to me, you're part of the family.
We're a family!
And I do appreciate you. I'll do an official video one day soon. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
I've come here to say one magic word to you.
Yeah?
Cheeseburger.
Have you brought any fruits or vegetables onto the planet?
2 weeks.
Excuse me?
2 weeks! Catch!
Get ready for a surprise.
Total Recall was a 1990 sci-fi thriller starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. It is a typical Arnold Schwarzenegger action-packed movie. It's a little different though, and honestly, I watched this film as a kid. Once again, something I should not have watched, but I did. There's a lot of horror in there. A lot of freaky scenes that I still remember to this day. Things that scared the hell out of me as a little kid, but I turned out okay. The film is set in a futuristic world where dreams and reality intertwine, and Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Douglas Quaid. He is a construction worker and he is haunted by recurring dreams of Mars. So wanting to escape his boring, mundane life, he visits Recall. It's a company that implants artificial memories. Things take an unexpected turn as Quaid's memories are tampered with and he finds himself embroiled in a dangerous conspiracy. Sorry. One of the things that I really appreciate about Total Recall is a lot of practical effects.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cat.
Drive!
Would you please repeat the destination?
Sit!
I'm not familiar with that address.
It's time on Mars? Yes. Well, actually, no. Voila! Venusville!
Now, while Total Recall primarily falls into the sci-fi action genre, there are moments of horror, as I said, throughout the film. There's a lot of suspense and a lot of gore. But it really heightens the tension of the whole film. One scene in particular involves Quaid having to remove a tracking device from his nose. But wasn't necessary. I suppose it was, because here I am talking about it 33 years later. So I guess it was worth it. So obviously he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, so he's kind of physically impressive. He's actually pretty charismatic in this, and there's actually a lot of humor in the film as well.
Looking for Melina.
There's a Mary here. She's free.
I'll wait for Melina.
Earth slime.
I I remember watching this as a kid, and again, as a kid, I didn't get a lot of it, but there's a lot of twists and a lot of deeper meanings to a lot of different things, a lot of storylines that kind of crisscross that you really have to keep track of. So as long as you're brighter than 5-year-old, you should be okay doing this on your own. Now, this is spoiler free. I'm not going to talk about everything, but I really want to. Maybe in a future video, I want to have a little more time to go through everything properly. I'll do that. Sharon Stone is also in this, and she plays his wife. I will tell you this at the end, and I'm not giving anything away. It's kind of ambiguous, so take of it what you will. So let me explain this whole visiting Mars thing really quick. In 2084, so we only got about 60 more years before we can go to Mars. Mars is a colonized world. They're able to live there under this manufactured atmosphere, basically. They're able to breathe as long as they have their air. Once you get out of this area, once you get out of the safe zone, you turn into human lobsters.
That's nasty.
And there's this area on Mars where it's populated by humans and people mutated by air pollution and radiation. So you'll see a lot of mutation, a lot of, I guess I shouldn't call it body horror, but hell, some things really are, so I'm gonna call it body horror.
Got a lot of nerve showing your face around here, Hauser.
Look who's talking.
Hey, Tony, give the big guy a break.
Relax. You live long enough.
So if you're watching this movie, you gotta sit down and you gotta pay attention. But I think you'll enjoy it if you like weird off-the-wall movies. This is, 1990, so it's in between the weird 80 movies and the weird 90 movies, and it's set right in the center. And I think you'll enjoy it. Just don't take it too seriously, but do pay attention. I don't know how else to explain that. And I want you to watch Total Recall from 1990, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I want you to come back and give me your opinion on it. And if you have seen it, please give me your opinion on it in the comments. I'm always interested in hearing other people's opinions, especially about movies that I like, or maybe, they have questions. If I can help you out, I will. And if you like my content whatsoever, please like and subscribe. I feel so stupid saying that, but I do have to say it because sometimes I have to be reminded when watching a video. But maybe that's just me. One of my guilty pleasures is The Island of Dr. Moreau from 1996. It's a horror, thriller, body horror movie. There's a lot of body horror in it, in my humble opinion. But there is also an Island of Dr. Moreau from 1977. Both these films are based on the book by H.G. Wells, The Island of Dr. Moreau, in 1896. The basic plot is there's this mad, eccentric scientist who is trying to create a human-animal hybrid creature or creatures. Now, I've never read the book myself. I'm not giving anything away. You probably can't read on the back of the DVD if you people still buy DVDs.
I'm old. I remember DVDs.
The movie stars David Thewlis, Marlon Brando, Val Kilmer, Fairuza Balk, I always want to say Veruca Salt, and Ron Perlman. He is the sayer of the law. Although for the longest time, I thought Ron Perlman played the hyena character. Because, look at that. It looks just like Ron Perlman. But no, actually, that was played by another actor who sadly passed away, Daniel Rigney. The Island of Dr. Moreau from 1996 is notorious for how terrible the production was. People were just very unhappy on set. In spite of all that, it's become a cult classic even though it did not do well at the box office when it was released. I'm going to give you a little bit of how the movie begins. I won't give away the ending, but I'm going to give you an idea of the feel of this film and give you my thoughts on it without giving away any real spoilers. First, we start off where this man that we later learn is Douglas, he's narrating the beginning of the film. Douglas and 2 other men are trapped in a lifeboat in the Java Sea after their plane crashed. After about a week, they start fighting amongst each other for the last canteen of water.
Don't you know the poem? Water, water everywhere, so let's all have a drink.
They fought like beasts, not men, as Douglas mentioned in the narration. After some fisticuffs, the 2 other men fall overboard into the ocean. They practice their stabbing in the water, and of course there's a shark attack. One guy crawls back up and tries to strangle Douglas, or, just pull himself out of the water. But, either way, Douglas beats the man with an oar. Who's the beast now? Huh, Douglas? Being the sole survivor on the raft for some time afterward, he's picked up by this old ship. In his delirium, while on board, he believes he hears this man, who we later learn his name is Montgomery, mention preliminary tests. After being introduced, Douglas says he was working on an assignment for the United Nations, a peace settlement. Now, this is when Montgomery injects him with something, and Douglas asks if he's a doctor.
Well, I'm more like a vet.
They reach a remote tropical island, and they start unloading the animals into this small boat from the ship. Montgomery speaks to the sailors in their native language and tells Douglas to come with him on the island. And Douglas says, no, he might just stay on the ship, try to find a way to get back. And Montgomery says, well, they have a radio on the island, plus the sailors are real party animals. And besides, the captain is taking a real shine to Douglas there.
If you know what I mean.
He said the others will help unload, so just come with him onto the island. Douglas asks if the islanders are the ones that will help unload. Montgomery's like, yeah, the islanders. And Montgomery explains that the islands switch hands from country to country over time, and Moreau ended up running the island, basically. They have this crate of rabbits. Montgomery takes one of them out, is the nicest way I can say it. You know, what kind of hell vet are you? Obviously, he's not a vet. It's kind of a joke, but still, you a-hole. Well, Montgomery hands Douglas the dead rabbit.
Dead rabbits.
And we can see that someone is watching them from the trees as they walk away. They reach some buildings, and it looks like a large house.
I'm gonna have to ask you to restrict your movements to the main house. People who fund this project, they're afraid you're gonna sprain an ankle and sue us.
And he's just kind of walking around on his own, and he sees Veruca Salt dancing. He's a voyeur.
Tommy, how's it peeping?
So she's startled by Douglas. We later learn, by the way, her name is Aisa. She seems very socially awkward.
You have such beautiful hands. So beautiful.
You know, she's a little weird, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm weird and I'm fine.
Are you from this island?
My father brought me here.
Dr. Moreau.
As these two are talking, we can see Montgomery, in the back.
How's it peeping?
As soon as she spots him, she runs off.
She's a pussycat.
Douglas says he thinks he remembers Dr. Moreau, that he vanished after receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. Montgomery explains that he can't stay in the States due to his animal research, and he's lived on the island for 17 years. He started corresponding with Dr. Moreau after he wrote a paper, and that's how Montgomery ended up on the island, helping out Dr. Moreau. As they're walking in this room, Montgomery locks up Doug for his own safety.
Why have you locked the door?
This is for your own good.
So maybe I'm slow. I did not get this for the longest time. He dislodges the key that's on the outside of the door with this metal rod. I must be very dumb because I can't tell you how many times I've watched this movie and didn't understand how he got out. He keeps walking. He hears this terrible howling. So, of course, he goes to investigate. Not so sure I would. Unless, of course, I thought an animal was hurt, then I probably would look. So anyway, he goes into this big hut, this big building, and he sees wild animals caged up. He sees deformed fetuses in jars. And there's this creature laying on a table that looks like she's surrounded by nurses or doctors. They're all wearing masks. Well, this creature births a deformed humanoid creature. Douglas makes a startled noise. Douglas runs, and he's greeted by two animal humanoids outside. Honestly, they seem kind of sweet, but understandably, he's freaked out and he runs away. Aisa meets him in the forest and says she can help get him off the island, but he mustn't say or do anything to hurt her father.
Eddie, there's a lot of unstable phenomena out there.
I'm going to start saying that now.
So the pair make it to the dock, but a pack of man-wolves prevents them from fleeing. This is when they run into this cheetah creature. The special effects aren't like how they are nowadays, but back then, that was really impressive. This right here was amazing, and it still kind of scares me to this day because I'll walk in the woods and I think, wouldn't that be scary if I just saw that cheetah thing here? I don't know. My brain is weird. That's why I like horror movies, I guess. Hyena's a really cool and interesting looking character. I love the practical effects in this film. Now, as Aisa and Douglas are running, they come across a dead rabbit laying in a tree, which she's disgusted by because, as we come to find out, these humanoid creatures aren't supposed to eat meat. And I don't know if it's because Moreau is worried that they're going to revert back to their animal instinct, or they're going to become more dangerous. But anyway, they're not allowed to eat meat. So as they're running, they come across another creature.
It's Man-Bear-Pig!
And she lifts up Douglas's hand and tells him, "Five-Finger Man." He gets all excited, I guess because he has hands similar to the human. So they walk to their little humanoid animal creature village.
We are men, because the Father has made us men.
Sayer of the law.
Another 5 men has come to hear the law and the wisdom.
Well, the father is coming, and that's Dr. Moreau. He's very Pope-like as they bring him in.
No!
Give him the gun. What? He's very frightened. Give it to him.
Douglas, no!
He won't handle it. I beg you, please do not confuse them.
Move back! For God's sake, stop!
Don't you feel the heat? We must return to the compound.
This part is I don't know, man. Douglas is not a very likable character to me. He comes off as very arrogant and rude, but maybe he's supposed to. I never read the book. Maybe he's supposed to come off as arrogant and rude. Maybe he's the human factor. Human beings can be terrible. Maybe we're not supposed to necessarily root for Douglas. We're not going to root with messing with nature and animals and innocent beings, in my opinion. This is where Dr. Moreau introduces Doug to the people in his home. He says these are his children. He introduces them one by one. And the dog creatures are really cute. That one's really sweet. He seems really sweet. And then he introduces him to this little man.
He just wants to shake your hand.
And Douglas just looks at him like, oh my God, how dare you stand next to me. But the little guy holds his hand out.
Look at these people! Look at him!
That little guy didn't even ask to be born. Why are you being mean to him? He has not done a thing to you. I'm going to kind of stop it there. I'm not going to give anything else away. But as I mentioned, Douglas is not such a likable character. And even though Montgomery is an ass sometimes, he really is more likable than Doug. The special effects can be dated, but a lot of practical effects are still there. And the way they utilize what they could, I thought was really smart. I guess you just need to be taught that you can't play God. And here we are creating dire wolves. You know we got dinosaurs out there somewhere.
It's a conspiracy.
I don't think you even have to necessarily even like horror. To me, there are horror aspects of it, but I guess you could say it's more of a thriller. A lot of interesting stuff happened. So go and watch Island of Dr. Moreau from 1996. If you have seen the 1970s version, let me know, in your own humble opinion, which one is the better film. And if you've read the book, let me know, is it worth reading? Because I do love me some books. Nerd! While we're at it, do you have any other suggestions that are similar to the Island of Dr. Moreau? And if you have seen the movie, let me know what you thought of it. If you haven't, check it out. Come back and let me know what you thought. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
Oh, you'll like it. I like it. It's a little Jimi Hendrix. And...
Oh, wait.
Ow!
Wait.
Who the hell are you, huh?
I don't think I've ever touched on The Arrival yet, from 1996, starring Charlie Sheen. It's very suspenseful. It's science fiction and horror and some really creepy scenes, to be honest. Charlie Sheen stars as Zane Zeminski. He is a radio astronomer? I can't speak. Anyway, he looks at stars and he intercepts a signal from outer space, something that nobody can explain. Since Zane's bosses and other people around him, his superiors, kind of just say, hey, it's nothing, he decides to investigate himself.
Searching for ETs in this political environment is a tough sell.
What he discovers is much bigger and much more terrifying than what he imagined. While The Arrival is usually labeled sci-fi thriller, this very much has horrific atmospheric tension. Why? Because aliens are scary. You can't look at me in the eye and tell me that aliens aren't frightening. Even the fun and cute ones like Alf and E.T. I mean, realistically, aliens aren't going to be like that. They're going to be like humans, which is a terrifying thought. So I will not spoil this film, very few spoilers as possible, but this will actually show the aliens. It always reminds me of that one scene in South Park when Mr. Garrison is referencing how he was waiting to see an alien in Contact with Jodie Foster, and he's like, and it turned out to be her goddamn father. You know, so they will show aliens in The Arrival. It is very creepy. There are some very creepy scenes that are maybe not as intense as Fire in the Sky, but it still has a very eerie feeling, and the way they did some of these scenes is very creepy. It's my type of creepy. So do bear with it, because it does seem like more of a government conspiracy, a government cover-up movie, and you're like, okay, where are my aliens? They will show, don't worry. Don't read too much about it or know too much about it, because I'm afraid a lot of these reviews, a lot of people talk about it, will give away a little bit of a surprise ending there. And of course, Charlie Sheen plays a great insane guy. Well, obviously, Zane's not insane. He's great at playing someone who's very paranoid. He really pulls that off. Someone who feels like he's being hunted down. Someone who feels like he can't trust anyone. And that is one of the things about this film too. It will make you question, like, who can he trust? Who can we trust? But if you haven't seen The Arrival, 100% guarantee that you're going to have fun, even if you don't care for the movie, even if you didn't care for the creature design. However it is, you're going to have fun watching Charlie Sheen just freaking lose his mind as Zane. He did an awesome job. He did really good. It's a very good paranoia conspiracy film, even if you don't care for the alien topic or the sci-fi stuff. Very, very unnerving things in this film. Makes you think about a lot. Do aliens exist? Do I want to know? Will we ever find out if there are aliens? Will the government tell us? No. But The Arrival is something that I have not seen mentioned too often, and I think it really needs to be. So you'll love it if you're into this type of film. I think you'll really enjoy it. Again, bear with the film. It takes a while for you to get to where you want to be if you're watching it for the aliens, but it's totally worth it. So have you seen The Arrival? If you have, what did you think of it? Did you think it was insane? Did you think it's worth a watch? It's not for everyone. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's a fun movie. Watch the movie, watch The Arrival, and come back and tell me what you thought of it. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
Like I said, Z, you didn't know the half of it.
Today we're going to be talking about Terrifier, the short from 2011. Now, you might know the whole legacy of Art the Clown, and if you don't, check out my videos on my channel. I talk about it a little bit.
Actually obsessed.
But I will say that there is a short of Terrifier with director's commentary. So I'm going to talk about a little bit some of the behind the scenes stuff that I have learned from the commentary. So we have Damien Leone, who is the writer, director, special effects artist for the Terrifier films, of course. But also Mike Gianelli. He played Art the Clown in the films before Terrifier from 2016. After that, it was played by David Howard Thornton. Marie Mazur, she stars as the leading woman in the Terrifier short. And if you have seen Terrifier 3, she has a very quick cameo. She's the receptionist at the clinic that Sienna is staying at. So while she has a really small part for fans like me, I was really excited to see her. Marie actually auditioned for a film they started on but never did finish, so Damien decided that he did want to use her in something, and he ended up using her in Terrifier. And I believe that they said this is her first time in a short. She might have been, an extra or something like that. And he said she was very real. She didn't give him any problems. Most of the short was actually filmed at Seaview Hospital. Damien's mom actually worked there, so she can give them access to places that they could use to shoot. Terrifier, the short, did win some awards. It was shown to some festivals. But Damien really believes in YouTube. Once he put the short on YouTube, it exploded. It went viral. He did say he believes in YouTube. If you put something good out there, people will find it. The only thing, and I do agree with this, it's so oversaturated right now, you really got to dig deep to find some good stuff. I'm hoping you find it here on my channel, by the way. Molly Maguire, she did production, costumes, makeup, all this stuff. And Damien actually met her first doing an NYU short. And he said, I'm working this other movie. And she said, you know what, my sister, Katie's an actress, so maybe you should contact her. And Katie Maguire is actually the one who is in All Hallows Eve playing the babysitter, and Monica Brown in the Terrifier film. So that's pretty cool. There's that connection there, which I was unaware of until I watched this short. She's not actually driving, but they were actually in a parking lot and they were just moving the car up and down, just pushing on it, and used some light gags to make it look like she was driving by some lampposts. I always like the behind the scenes information like that. This is when she's driving, we see Art on the side of the road like he's hitchhiking, holding up a sign that says circus. And Damien Leone actually said that he totally ripped that off of Creepshow 2.
Thanks for the ride.
And Damien actually shared a pretty cool bit of information. When she's driving, she nearly hits this white van that's coming towards her in the opposite lane. The way they film most of that is they actually park nose to nose and backed up and then put the film in reverse. It looks like they nearly crash. As our heroine or victim, however you like to say, comes across this parked car, she gets out and there's this mangled woman in the driver's seat. That's actually Damien's girlfriend, Jen. He's like, hey babe, can I cut up your face, for this film? So she had to sit through all the makeup doing that. I guess that's love right there. But did you know what actually inspired Damien to make that driver right there look that horrific? And I knew it.
I knew it.
Because I spotted it. I called it. But actually, I will tell you that he got that inspiration from real life stuff, which is really smart. I don't know if any of you youngins remember this, but there was a pretty bad chimpanzee attack of this woman, and she does look very similar to that. That's where he took the inspiration from. He said that's what Art would do. Art doesn't shy away. He does the most horrific thing you can possibly think of. So I think that really worked for this character, because it is actually very frightening. I love all animals, and human beings have done worse things to other human beings, but I am terrified of chimpanzees. They're strong, and they will rip off your face and eat your fingers. Gross. I went a little sidetracked.
It happens sometimes.
The woman in Art, that's actually them. When you see the car moving, it's actually Damien Leone driving. The scene where Marie is hanging on a tree and it looks like she's in the middle of the forest, that very scene right there, he said it was filmed on a square foot pot, or just like one tree in the middle of a parking lot. The way they use simple techniques, I am really impressed by. I think that's a really great trick for them to share with people, because honestly, I am not a director, so I don't know how to do this stuff. But if I were, I love knowing the little tricks of the trade. And apparently filming that scene where she has the plastic over her face, Marie had a little bit of a freak out, according to them. Yeah, I would too. She actually felt like she was being suffocated. I'm sure she knew in the back of her head that she's safe, she's not going to die. However, when it comes to stuff like that kind of plays tricks on your mind. You think, oh my God, I am going to die. Art was supposed to hack through the window with an axe. The property had been sold, and so they couldn't do that. And Damien Leone said that, oh, I bought all this breakaway glass, it didn't fit the window. So that's when they decided to have Art burrow under the earth like a mole. And ironically, Damien said that, well, we could have him hack through the door, but that's too much like Jack Torrance in The Shining. He said, I want to take inspiration, but I don't want to just copy it. And in Terrifier 3, we have the iconic Art looking through the door that he hacked through with an axe. Well, I say he's burrowing like a mole. Damien said it's more like a zombie coming through. That's what it was reminiscent of to him. So since the floor actually had a floor, it wasn't just dirt and leaves. They covered the floor of this shack with dirt and leaves. And he did mention there is a door there, but we didn't mess up. That door went to like a little closet. It didn't go out, so it's not like she was stupid and just sat there and didn't try the other door. So they're really thinking on their feet. This is all just within the day or two, something like that. I think he said that the day before or the day of this shot was supposed to take place, where it was supposed to come through the window, but they decided, no, we'll have him come through the floor. So they had to think pretty quickly, and it turned out pretty good. And on the flail, you'll notice a lot of terrible instruments like scissors and scalpel. Just the thought of a scalpel is just terrible. That's just terrible. But you'll also notice the hair. There's some braids on there, and that's actually the hair from Art's previous victims. The guy that's driving that picks up the woman as she's hysterical on the side of the road, he was a last minute addition. It was Katie's friend. She says, oh, he's great, you just get him. And Damien said that he had to give him very little direction, that the guy was a really good actor, and he was in it for a very short amount of time, which you might learn if you haven't seen the short, but he did a good job. And that one scene where you see Art kind of hover up, well, not hover up, I shouldn't say it that way, when Art gets up, that was actually an accident. When they're editing together that scene, it just worked out well, so they left that scene in there. And one of the best things about Art the Clown is his wild card.
Do that. That's just what I do. Wild card, bitches.
He will pull out a gun out of nowhere for no reason. You wouldn't think that the villain in a slasher film would just pull out a gun and shoot. He said, you can't picture any of the other iconic slashers pulling out a gun and shooting somebody. That'd be stupid, but he felt like Art could get away with it, and I'm so glad he did. For some reason, I just love it. Near the end, she passes out after being in the accident, and she wakes up, and you have this false sense of security that maybe she's safe in a hospital because she has a light in front of her. Seems like she's on a bed, a Band-Aid on her face. She looks at the nasty, disgusting instruments and then turns her head to see Art sitting there, laughing silently and pointing at her that she is indeed not safe. Not only is she not safe, she has her arms and legs amputated, her breasts are removed, and she has these horrible carvings in her flesh. And if you happen to notice the word pig, that's obviously a reference to Charles Manson and the Manson cult family. Damien Leone said, what could he do? What is the worst thing a man could do to a woman? And so he had Art do this to her. And it is a very disturbing end. People talk about how Terrifier 3, the beginning, and all these scenes are just so horrific, and it was bad. I mean, they didn't show anything explicitly, but the aftermath of a child being attacked. But if you had seen All Hallows Eve, you know what happens. And after seeing what happens to this girl in Terrifier the short, this is probably the worst thing Art has ever done, in my opinion. Because he did all this just to be, freaking cruel. So after seeing this and All Hallows Eve, it's kind of like everything Art does now is just old hat. I hope you get that reference to the coroner in Terrifier, but anyway.
Sweetheart, I've been doing this 22 years. Everything else is just old hat.
It's a really disturbing ending, and it is not a feel-good movie. This is not ending in a way that you think, well, maybe she'll be okay. Maybe she'll make it out. No, if that were me, go on and kill me. Just be done with it, dude. This is a nightmare. So Damien Leone did a really good job at making you feel very uncomfortable. There's actually another version where the girl woke up and her arms and legs were amputated, but she didn't have any nasty words carved into her. She still had her breasts, but they changed it up. They made it worse. After they filmed it, though, Damien thought it looked a little too clean, so they're like, we gotta mess up this body some more, and that's when he mangled her even more so. Messed her up good. So while I did give some behind-the-scenes stuff, it's really worth the watch to watch the director's cut of the Terrifier short. It's also a lot of fun hearing their accents. I love New York accents.
Forget about it.
And have you heard any behind-the-scenes facts that I did not mention here? If so, please let me know in the comments. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. I just love watching behind-the-scenes stuff. So check out Terrifier the short and let me know what you thought. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
One single injection. This is the substance.
I'm Sue.
A perfect balance of 7 days each. You are one.
Today's quick movie suggestion is going to be The Substance from 2024. And I will warn you that even if you're the type that likes gory movies and lots of cool practical special effects like I do, this is very much a body horror film. And when I say body horror, think like The Thing from 1982. It's intense. The movie stars Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. Now, to give you a quick idea of this film, Demi Moore plays Elizabeth Sparkle, and she's kind of a washed-up actress. She's doing these workout videos or TV shows. She one day has to use another bathroom because the women's bathroom is out, and she overhears her boss, Dennis Quaid, playing Harvey, talk bad about her, saying she's old, just putting her down. Like, it's her birthday, and she's already feeling bad enough as it is. Because as you get older, especially, as a woman, you feel more and more rejected by society. I'm not trying to make this a sexist thing. I don't do that stuff. But I will say, I can understand that as a woman, getting older, it makes you feel like, society makes you feel like you're trash. So she gets a little desperate, and eventually she comes across this substance called the substance. Now, would I inject this glow-in-the-dark fluid in my veins, not really knowing what it is? No, I wouldn't. But Elizabeth is a little desperate, and so she figures, hey, what have I got to lose? Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this movie because I went in halfway blind, and I think you should too, because I don't want to give anything away. It's really incredibly confusing at times, but it's worth the watch. Just watch it. And as I always say, go with the flow. Don't expect all the answers, especially right away. But what happens is this thing pops out of your body, and that's a better version of you. And the rule is you have to spend 7 days as yourself and 7 days as your other self. You must follow these rules unconditionally, no matter what. And as you can guess, some things don't go as planned. So as I said, it's very much a body horror film. I have watched, Terrifier 3 many times, and that's nothing but blood and guts and stuff, which I still appreciate, of course. It's a totally different genre of film. But this is different because it is so, it's so like things start getting deformed and infected. Also reminds me of The Fly. So if you think of The Fly and The Thing, it's the cousin of The Fly and The Thing. There are some scenes where I'm like, what is going on? But I am going to watch the movie again because it is a fun watch. There was a scene where I thought the movie was going to end. I'm like, is this how they're going to end it? They can't end it like this. And then it kept going, and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? But it does have an ending. When I saw Elizabeth Sparkle, though, the name, it reminded me on that Simpsons, back in the golden era of the Simpsons. They went to see some like yo-yo champions, and there was this girl that Lisa liked, and her name was Sparkle.
She's beautiful.
And Lisa's like, wait, this isn't you. She goes, that's the old Sparkle. So that's what I thought of every time I heard the word sparkle. If you are the type that gets kind of squeamish about stuff, this probably ain't the movie for you. But if you like movies that are totally different, definitely watch The Substance. So have you seen this film? What did you think about it? Did you like it? Do you think you're going to watch it? The acting's great, by the way. Demi Moore, she was really good in this. Margaret, who plays Sue, which is Elizabeth's other self. She's really good too. It does make you feel a lot of emotion though. I think you can empathize with a lot of what Elizabeth Sparkle goes through, because I think we all feel cast away and, got the short end of the stick. So I think we can empathize with Elizabeth, even though I hope that you wouldn't go to some alleyway to get some mysterious drug to inject in your veins. So what are your thoughts?
Holy shit!
The Monkey is a 2025 dark comedy that is just insane in all the right ways. Directed by Osgood Perkins and written by Osgood Perkins and Stephen King, because it's based on a short story by Stephen King. Twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in the attic, and some insane random deaths occur around them. The boys are all grown up. Theo James plays both Bill and Hal, so he has a dual role. Once this monkey comes back into their lives, the way random people die in the most absurd way is really entertaining. I didn't know how to take this movie at first. I'm like, is it supposed to be funny? Is it a comedy? Is it a horror? Because it looks kind of goofy. While the blood and carnage really would be worth it just for that, to see it on the big screen, I am glad I waited until it streamed, because I was perfectly fine with seeing it on my flat screen's much smaller TV. I am kind of glad I just waited to watch it at home at my convenience. The kills in this movie are hilarious. There are some scenes that I kind of thought, this is what I would put in a movie if I just want to make something completely ridiculous. Like I say, it's ridiculous in all the right ways. It is a dark comedy. I guess you could say it's horror by the fact that people just kind of spontaneously die around this monkey or in connection with this monkey. And also this monkey, it's kind of weird because we've all seen this little toy monkey. It's one of those things that I can't pinpoint where I first seen this figure in movies or TV shows. I don't think I ever had one in real life, but we've all seen it. We all know what this monkey is. But this is an evil monkey. I think people who like dark comedies, kind of goofy humor, maybe people who like, Terrifier, like me. It's almost a Tim Burton-esque kind of feel, as in it's a dark film, but there's a lot of humor. There's a lot of upbeat stuff, even though there's a lot of weird stuff going on too. I think if you're going and expecting actual horror, you will be disappointed, because this is more goofy to me. This is more of a comedy than a horror. There are some scenes like, oh my God, I can't believe that. Did you see how that happened? That's hilarious. And you usually don't say it's hilarious when you see someone's face being blown off by a shotgun, but you have to laugh. There was a point near the end where it kind of feels like it fizzles out a little bit. And there are some scenes I'm also like, when did this happen? What did I miss? But it's like, was this a skydiving wedding? What happened? But it's a weird movie. It's an entertaining movie. It'll make you laugh. I think you'll enjoy it if you go in with an open mind. It's still a fun watch though. I think it's completely worth it. It's a goofy, dark comedy is what it is. Its ridiculousness turned up to 11. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And again, I think you will too if you are expecting something absolutely absurd, because that is what you will get. So yes, definitely worth the watch. Fizzled out at the end for me, but I think if you have a good sense of dark humor, you'll like it. Not the best dark comedy or horror, but definitely not the worst. There's one scene that was just so freaking hilarious because this guy is kind of like, this monkey's everywhere now. I just see this monkey everywhere I go. At a strip club, there's the monkey. Ridiculousness, man. I love it. There are a lot of scenes that I'm like, I would have done that. If I were making a movie, had to make something weird and goofy happen, that's what I would have done. So I guess that's why I liked it. Like, this is my type of humor. Could have been better. Could have been a little faster paced at the end. I think we all kind of saw the end coming, but that's okay. You know what? It's still a fun movie. Still a fun watch. Worth it. And let me know what you thought in the comments. Do you think it was stupid? Did you like it? Is it the best film you've seen in years? Or is it just, you know, it was goofy and fun. And that's all that matters. That's how I feel about it. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
Oh, fuck.
I just want to say how very sorry I am for...
She should be locked up until she tells us what happened.
17 kids in one classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
I love those kids.
A lot of people die in a lot of really weird ways in this story.
Weapons is a horror psychological thriller. It's a very weird movie. I guess I'll just dumb it down and say it's a horror movie from 2025. Stars Julia Garner as Justine, Josh Brolin as Archer, Benedict Wong as Marcus, and Amy Madigan as Gladys. Now, there's more cast and characters, of course, but I'm just going to give you the gist of this movie, who will like it, who will not, and what to expect and what not to expect from this film. The reason I say it's not necessarily a horror is, well, it is a horror, but it's not in the traditional sense. There are some very unsettling scenes, some very creepy scenes, a lot of good jump scares. It did get me several times, but I wasn't necessarily seeing it as a horror. We start off very intriguing, very unique, and it seems to slow down a bit, so I'm going to tell you just power through it. It does get more interesting, and then mid to the end, that's when things start picking up. On the posters and ads, it said from the director of Barbarian. I wasn't a fan of Barbarian, so if you like Barbarian, you'll like this film. If you're not a fan, you'll probably like this film too, maybe. I don't know. I didn't like Barbarian, but I like Weapons. Barbarian was also one of those movies that I went into thinking it was a horror, and it was not. It was just very weird. So it still has the weirdness, and the ending is something that made me laugh. So I don't know if it was supposed to or not, but it did. Last night at 2:17 a.m., every child from Mrs. Gandy's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, walked into the dark, and they never came back. Sounds absolutely frightening. So they walked downstairs. This must be a rich neighborhood because growing up, only rich people had a second story. Us poor folk only had a single story home or trailers. Children can be scary enough, but the way they run, it's not quite the way those dang TikTokers did for the, invade Area 51 thing, but they had their arms out. They all run with their arms out. This is their, possessed mode. We start off with a young child kind of giving you the beginning story about these kids disappearing, and then we go on through different sections, different chapters, with different characters. We have Justine and her ex, I believe. We have different people and their stories overlap. We are told children out of Justine's class disappeared except for this one boy named Alex. We skip ahead a little bit and the parents, the people in town, blame Justine. They're like, how come every kid from this woman's class just disappeared one night? So obviously she is really scrutinized. Understandable. Josh Brolin plays Archer. He's one of the parents whose child just up and disappeared. They do mention that there are cameras, ring doorbells, that type of thing. They do see the children run out into the dark. They bring out cops, they bring out search party, dogs, and they just can't be found. Now you would think that somehow they would kind of guess where these children ran to, but It's a movie. If you think too much into it, you're not going to have a good time. Benedict Wong plays Marcus, who is Justine's boss. I believe he might be the principal in this movie. And Austin Abrams, he plays James. He is a homeless crackhead who is up to no good, but he sees the missing kids as an opportunity to make some money. Now, Amy Madigan, I know her best as Shanice from Uncle Buck, one of my favorite movies of all time. She plays Gladys. Now, I went into this movie totally blind. I did see a few photos of this woman, an older woman in heavy makeup and this weird red wig. And so I knew she had a part to play, but I didn't know what. She is a freaky character. I believe she will be an iconic character. One thing also that I will say that is if you are expecting answers, don't. You're not going to get a lot of answers in this film. There's a lot of stuff that happens. It's very entertaining. I had a lot of fun. And if you just overthink it, like I said, you're not going to have a good time.
You're gonna have a bad time.
I really love the cinematography. I thought it was really great. Some of the close-ups and framing, camera work, I was really impressed by. The way these characters run when they're almost possessed. I just love it. I won't give away the ending. I'm not even giving away much of the plot other than the basics of it. But the ending made me laugh. And if you've seen the movie, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, watch the movie. Still have fun. I'm not saying it's a stupid ending. I'm not saying it's a bad ending. I'm just saying you had to laugh. As I did mention earlier, there's kind of a lull after the beginning. It kind of slows down, but I promise you it does get better. It gets more interesting. There's more going on. So don't give up. Once you get to Alex's story, it's going to be so much more interesting. So it is definitely worth the watch to me. Like I say, I had a lot of fun. Just because I didn't get all my questions answered doesn't mean that I didn't like the movie. You know, a little bit of mystery is good too. I wonder if they made Weapons 2 because it didn't make a big impact. I've seen a lot of people talk about this movie. I believe this is going to be just like Hereditary or Midsommar or even Barbarian. It's going to be one of those you like it or you don't like it type of movies. There are some really creepy scenes. I believe there was one scene that really made me cringe, like oh my god, that's just awful. There's a lot of violence, there's some gore, but one of the scenes that made me wince the most was probably the fork scene. I'll just say that. You'll know what it is when you see it, trust me. I like that there was some humor in this, but not so much that it made you lose the fact that it is a horror. It's a horror. I'll say it's a horror. I thought the acting was pretty good. Again, Amy's depiction of Gladys is something I think we'll all remember. My only critique would be that I wish that it kept its momentum. In the beginning, it was so eerie and creepy. You know, these children disappear in the middle of the night. That was creepy. I felt like I got kind of bored and I started thinking, oh no, maybe I'll shut it off. But I don't usually shut off movies unless they're absolutely horrendous. So I kept watching and I'm glad I did. So the people that I think won't enjoy this are people who get bored easily. Maybe people who really need that solid ending, that film that has all the answers to your questions, that ties everything up. This doesn't necessarily do that. There's really no explanation for anything that's going on. Maybe other than maybe like black magic, possibly some sort of possession. You think that they would have found these children. Somehow they would have coordinated. This kid's running in this direction, that kid's running in that direction. Are they all meeting up at this one spot? Hard to believe that detectives and investigators and, hell, even people on the internet wouldn't have found a certain spot where the kids might end up. But that's okay. But I think for people like me who just love interesting movies, something different, some good jump scares, and interesting characters, and a little bit of humor, I think you'll enjoy it. It probably would have been fun to see on the big screen in the theater, but I just waited to stream it at home. I feel like it's decent at the house. It would probably be worth it to pay a little extra and see it in the theater too if you want to go for that movie experience. So go in as blind as you can. If you have seen Weapons, tell me what you thought of it. Tell me if you wanted more answers, if you wanted more or less of certain things. I would love to hear your opinion, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
Oh, Marcus, get her a glass.
A bowl, please.
A bowl?
It's a peculiarity of mine. I don't even try to rationalize it anymore.